not the greatest. I feel like I've said that too many times. That's the problem. But hey, there we are.
Well, a win is a win. I mean,
Hello.
let's face it.
I think we are live.
And a last minute win. So, and a last minute win certainly means a beer, or a cider in my case. Good old Magnus from.
And you've got the background on, so you just disappear when you do that.
I know. Yeah, that's the problem. That's also the perks of a messy room.
No.
So, anyway, hello everybody. We are.
That's why my shoulders are disappearing a bit.
And just got someone else to pop in.
Hang on.
Another person on coming in, Richard. Another Richard. Hello, other Richard.
Always can't have too many.
There's only enough room for one Richard.
You can. Apparently, you can. Yeah.
While we're connected to Richard, he's coming in, I think. I will just pop. No, I won't, because I've ballsed it up already.
So, what do you work with? Maybe livestock or something, Bart? Are you a mechanic?
No, I do genuinely work with computers.
Right. Okay.
I do. Yeah, I know.
Design systems.
You know what this is actually really. All this is really. I'm just stalling for time while the other Richard connects his audio.
Joyce.
Honest.
Oh, what can we do with technology?
Anyway, shall we start with that?
Yes.
Yeah,
shall we start with this? All I need to say is clear and obvious. Where is it?
I mean, well, realistic. I mean, we could, I could make this. We could talk about it, but
we could have a debate for 5 hours.
A picture just paints, says 1,000 words.
Yeah.
And we really don't need to say much about that, do we? Let's face it. That's just there isn't. Just no.
I think we do, because for me, and I was talking to somebody else about this. This picture shows why I have no desire to go back to the ground. One of the reasons. If this is what football has become, I'd rather watch my son in the local park with 10 other people. If this is what football is, count me out. Seriously, I'm not interested. Yeah. And that's.
I don't think you're alone in that. There's a lot of people starting to say this, and there's a cynical side of me that says, perhaps as the referees club never really wanted this to come in the first place, is this why they do it so badly? Is it they are incompetent? Probably. Is it because they don't really want it to come in? Probably also that as well. So they're just deliberately fudging it up to basically get it kicked out, make it massively unpopular, and then go, well, we didn't really want it.
There's a more fundamental question here. Looking at that, if you analyse those lines, I mean, I don't know, from that picture you can't say, but we're talking 1 or 2 centimetres?
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest, with my eyes, and they're old, but they are still functioning. And I work with digital images all day, every day. And I look at that, and they've drawn a line to help them. Now, that's fine. Now, you've got all the sort of things about perspective and stuff like that, but they've drawn the line as their marker. The red line there is to draw the marker. Padence's hand, if you just look at where he is and look at where the line is, and look at how much of Padence, which in the image is a distorted image because it's in between frames anyway, but I will go back to that afterwards. But if you just take his arm and the line, and look how much of that is bleeding over that line. Then you go down to the defender, number 30, and you look at the line again, and you see that there's a full hand protruding the other side of the line. So instantly, he's already onside.
We can't know. Not by the rules, isn't.
Well, if you're level, you're onside.
No, the rule says it's down to the t-shirt line, isn't it? No.
Oh, is it?
Is that down to it? It must be down to it. Apparently,
it's the t-shirt line.
Oh,
apparently, it's down. Apparently, it was down to his shoulder. Rumour is it was down to his shoulder
because it's essentially vertical. He's probably technically offside.
Because as you can see, he's feet-wise, he's onside by a foot and a half, by a country mile.
But there's a different point here. There's a different point here, and Bod touched on it.
I'll go. Okay, we'll go with the t-shirt line and the t-shirt line. So we look at it again. T-shirt line. Is he? Well, first of all, you're measuring a reddish shirt with a red line, right? So that's fucking idiotic for a start. But anyway, let's say that by the shirt he's online. But then let's just go back to that second point I made about the frame. The frame is in between frames. Yeah, the frame is. You can see clearly it's in between two frames. I mean, someone pointed out as well that when it was on, I was too busy being angry at the time that they rolled it backwards and forwards with the frame, so they couldn't actually pinpoint when it was. So,
in which case, you've got one basic question. Yeah, and the question is, what is the technical limitation of the technology? It's a simple question. I've asked it for ever since VAR came in, and people just go, "Oh no, the lines are pixel perfect." They're simple maths. Yeah, they're simple maths. But that's not the point. Has the ball actually been kicked? Has it left its foot? Is he about to kick it? Is the frame rate? I think they use 120 millisecond frame rate. Where's the scan line? So if they scan bottom to top, then Podence' arm will be scanned before the top of the ball. There's so many, and we're talking about players who can move at a pace of easily 5-10 meters a second. So they can easily move in 10 milliseconds, 2 or 3 centimeters. So there's a technical limitation. Now, what blows my mind is nobody in all the wonderful media we have has asked that simple question: what is the technical limitation of the technology? Because if you answer that question, then you can say, okay, it's not naked. If you can just look at it at normal speed or slow down to 50% and it's not offside, or you can't tell, it's a goal. That's what we all want, isn't it? Yeah, that's what we all want. These lines are so false until you answer that question: what is the technical limitation of the technology? They're a lie, because you're not actually analyzing anything. Unless you know the limitation of the technology, you're not doing anything meaningful. But people accept it because it's a lie. It appears to be absolute. But as you've raised, Bod, which frame are we talking about?
Well, and the fact, line there, you see it there. But you can see the two frames. Like you say, Richard, they're there. I mean, how you can determine that ball has left his foot?
Exactly.
I mean, if you can.
That's so pixelated. That's ridiculous.
Well, the thing is, there's no. I mean, if you're going to say, okay, it's how do I judge? What would you say? What would you use to judge that's left his foot? Would you say that there's some sort of distance between his foot? There'd be some gap. Well, that's not conclusive on that, because that looks, because he's got white or light coloured boots on and a white light coloured ball. Well, you can't tell. That could still be on it. He could still be playing that with his foot. He's side footing it, so it's not going to be like some, and it's not like his legs fully extended. So is it still on his feet? It's just there's nothing there. And the thing is, if that's the case, then you have to go with. I thought they had to go with the attacking player. That's how I thought they had to interpret it. Not. Oh well, for safety's sake, because we don't know, we'll just take the goal away. Fulham weren't complaining about the goal. The linesman didn't think it was a goal. Nobody thought it was a goal. Even the Muppets in the studio were absolutely scared shitless of saying anything against it. Didn't really commit either way. It's just
even fans on social media of all colours, I bet, including many Fulham fans, thought that it was that looked on. He said that's the extraordinary thing. That the more that these decisions and the more reluctancy to actually change the system, as they better well do in the summer, then the worse things are going to get, and the more that people are going to switch off football.
Well,
and it shouldn't surprise anybody whatsoever.
It's a very simple thing here. and there's a lesson for life. If you don't question science and have it explained to you why it's right, don't trust it. How all the points you've made there, what is when the rule is when the ball is kicked, Bod? Yeah, that's the rule.
Oh, absolutely,
yeah. So in this day and age, with that level of analysis, what do you mean by that? That's too vague. And you're dealing with people here with the referees, and let's face it, they're fairly officious people. They'd love to think that they're fair. They'd pride themselves in that. But the fact that they haven't come out and said, this is how we're going to use it, this is the limitations of technology, this is what we now mean by when the ball's kicked, this is how we'll tell you when the ball's kicked. If you don't have those things, it might as well be magic. We might as well have space wizards telling us people are offside, because it's just as accurate as what they're doing.
We might as well get the technology from the old Galactic Football series, the old Galactic Football cartoon series.
But the point is, nobody's questioning these simple things. If you are so stupid, you can't ask these questions. What's the media doing? Why aren't they saying, well, what do you mean by when the ball's kicked? How are you judging that? You never hear that debated.
They're scared. I actually genuinely think that, the level of journalism is quite poor anyway, because
it's atrocious.
But I'll tell you what, if you come in and make that, I tell you what, journalists who want some clicks, rather than doing the tired rumours and stuff like that, how about do that? Start asking those questions to the people that matter. You'll probably find you'll get a lot of clicks, an awful lot of clicks for that.
Yeah, but
might be a good angle.
They'd have to do some work, so it'll never happen. And I mean, it's clear that, and in fairness to Fulham, I want to say, I mean, I think Fulham approached, it was a competitive game. They played well. I think Fulham, I don't want to make this about this solely, because I think Fulham, all through this season, they've tried to play football the right way. But if you're Fulham and you stayed up because of that, that'd leave a bad taste. I mean, it would leave a bad taste in your mouth, wouldn't it? The result, we got the result in the end, but I mean, I've said before here, and you've agreed. You've been at Molineux, and that's why you go to the stadium. You hug your son, you hug the guy behind you, you hug the person in front of you. Oh, it's not a goal. I'm sick of that. I'm sick of it. I don't want to go to grounds to have that game. And even worse, at home, we can watch them draw the effing lines on the TV. When we're in the ground, we don't get any of that, do we?
Yeah.
No.
You don't even get that pantomime.
If you want us to cheer and you want us to go back and give atmosphere, don't treat us like this.
Yeah, exactly. Bang on.
Like
you're speaking for the Wolves. You're speaking for every Wolves fan here, Richard.
I mean, hopefully,
absolutely right.
I think it's most football fans, to be honest. And to be honest, as well, the most annoying thing for me is technology-wise, the offside rule is probably, actually, I think, one of the easiest to fix and solve. It really is, really easy. You have a sensor in a ball. You have a sensor in everyone's feet. You have a computer on the side. It will know where everybody is at all times. The one thing computers are very, very good at is maths. So they will know exactly where the ball is, exactly where all the players are, where the ball is, and everyone is measured from exactly the same point.
And the fact they've got it, and the fact they have those sensors in the goals for goal line technology. For God's sake, it works already.
They've got sensors in the goal line. The players are all wearing sensors and stuff anyway to track their fitness and stuff like that.
Yep.
This is not this is not some random technology I've just plucked out.
And football's a multi-billion-pound business. They can afford it. They can afford it by a country mile.
You don't want any. I don't think they want something that is accurate. I'm actually starting to genuinely think it's really tin hat, foil hat style, but I'm really starting to think they don't want accuracy.
Well, I think we could have a more general conversation on this, but I think we should drop it, to be honest.
Might be worth a chat over the summer, actually, in a post, in a post-season stroke pre-season.
That's
But
anyway.
there are enough people who are in the game who have said it's just not working.
It's not good
and
enough.
You've just got to hope. And at the end of the day, we have to vote with our feet. I mean, we don't subscribe to Sky and BT, and we maybe turn our backs on, or we just keep silent.
Well, we don't subscribe to Sky and BT and expect to see such lack of quality in refereeing and decision making at the top of the game, which is still one of the big problems. He didn't even go over to the screen, for goodness sake.
It's not his call. Yeah, it's not his call. In fairness to the referee, you can't blame him for that. You can blame him.
He could have got to have a look. He would have then had a better angle of it.
You can't. Not on those decisions. That's the thing.
That's why.
Anyway,
anyhow, before I explode after what's been a very long day.
On that same sort of thing about bad quality, I have to just quickly say, BT's coverage tonight, the camera angles. My God, they were bad. It was like someone. I mean, I mentioned it on the forum. Someone else mentioned it was like watching the Wolves under 23 thing with someone in this, almost like having one camera.
Yeah, what can you do? They should do much better. It's a bit like obviously they've got the cameras in those positions because of the rebuilding of the Riverside stand, which looks like now I think it's going to be a stand in the championship next season with the sucker punch, and it's going to be a nice stand. But yeah, it looked like as they do at QPR. Well, obviously Queen's Park Road, Loftus Road, it's exactly like that. We can barely get, because of how narrow it is and how tight it is, you can barely get right angles. It's nuts. Yeah, quality.
That was a small.
We need quality. We need better quality in broadcasting.
Well,
cough, Amazon, cough. Pay up. Go for it in the rights auction later this year, please.
But the onto the game itself.
Onto the game. Within what has been a long day.
Tragically awful. And that was my opinion.
And what's been a long day? I think it sums up the national mood.
I was much more upbeat from the West Ham performance with those, because there were three. Yeah. There were three mistakes, but this game, oh my God, that was bad. It was like they haven't trained all week. It's like, to be honest,
it's just
I've only just gone back to playing five-a-side football, and it looked like a bunch of people who hadn't played during lockdown and then had just started playing again. It was really poor. Now, is that lack of confidence?
I think
who knows? Who knows? But I suppose that our saving grace in a sense, along with Adama's brilliant finish, was obviously Fulham's lack of quality up front for themselves. And I think actually our defence didn't do too bad against, say, Mitrovic and others tonight, from my perspective. And obviously Fulham did come forward and have many more chances than us. I think we only had 4 or 5 in the end.
I kind of agree with you about the defenders per se, where they were doing having to do last ditch.
Yeah.
But the point for me was they were getting to the position where they had to do last ditch.
Well, they had to do it because of our incompetence elsewhere. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what was bothering me.
That's the problem.
I really got annoyed with what was perceived as they weren't sort of. I'm not going to say words up for it because that's probably the wrong word, but it was almost like they were playing a practice match again, which was a bit like the first half in West Ham. And I
think they were scared of losing.
Yeah, maybe. They're very. It's just so bad at times. I mean, some of the second half. Oh God, Jesus! I just couldn't believe. I mean, but the thing is, they're scared of losing some of the things. They were just, they weren't chasing down, or they were just under-hitting passes and stuff. If you're scared to lose, surely you're going to fight to win it back to make sure that the other team haven't got it.
I think the goal as well knocked it out of them a bit.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess they did knock the stuffing into that second half of it being at the end of the first and whatever else. So, and I'm not surprised it took them time to get back into it. But again, I don't think we looked too bad in terms of coming forward. And whatever else, and Nelson Semedo going into several very decent positions again tonight, and got himself again some good free kick. Managed to get himself into those positions. Obviously getting his free kicks, which again the quality was obviously annoyingly not good. Again, Size's wasn't too bad. Size's free kick wasn't bad, but at least when it came to the goals, obviously the first one being disallowed, that was very, very well built up and very, very nice. And then again with the one which actually counted, again very neat, quick play, and we were able to do. And then obviously Adama with that kind of quality should be doing that more often. Case of a first time hit, or it hit from a bit of a tricky angle because that ball could have easily gone anywhere. But the power and the pace for it stuck it right into the place where you wanted it to go.
I'm glad he took the shot there, because there was no one up there with him. So
No.
as long what would have annoyed me more is if he'd gone up there and then tried to hold on to the ball.
And then waited for someone. Yeah. That's what we need to see more of Traore, of Adama doing.
It would have been worse for me, and I know some will disagree with this, but it would have been worse for me if he took that into the corner and tried to hold it in the corner. I think I'd have thrown something through the TV.
I think everybody would have chucked something at their televisions. But at least he thought, I'm going to go for this. It's a case of getting 3 big points, and he did. And it was a tremendous finish. I just say the build-up play, obviously, the Gibbs White didn't seem too bad when coming on in his short spell. Obviously, that lovely ball over to Fabio, and then obviously Fabio sticking it through down the right hand side. It meant Adama got through by himself as well, though. It's what we'd hoped for, that there'd be a sucker punch in that way where Adama was let free and was able to let rip. And frankly, that occurred. 3 points is better than 1 point, and 38 points is better than 36 points. Ultimately,
I think Adama, more than Gibbs White. I think if you gave him a lot more game, there's a player in there. Whether he's good enough for where we think we want to be is a different question. But there's certainly a good player there, and the stick is taken. He should, if you go onto a Premier League football pitch and you put in a half decent performance, you're a good player. You're not talking Championship, you're talking Premiership. It doesn't matter if it's Fulham or Sheffield United, you're at that level. Fabio, again, continues to show why he's going to be worth and exceed 35 million. Now, I thought Jose had a good game as well. And I feel for him tonight, I really do, because I thought he needs to be a bit more aggressive, put himself about a bit more, but it's close, it's coming. I still think we stick with the kind of Fabio coming on. Maybe it's 60, not 70. And I think I kind of felt that Jose was left on to give him more chance to score. But we're 9 million miles away. We've got some great players, and for me, Bod, it feels like midfield and defence are still the areas where we need to improve.
Yeah. I don't think we need to. I don't think we need to buy really any more attacking players over the summer. We're only going to be able to have so many players. And I don't think spending a load of money in attack is necessarily going to be the answer. Defenders, hello. Oh, hello.
Sorry, I just want to move. My daughter's
it's been evicted. Hi.
I might have to go because I've got food. So I'm going to have to say au revoir. But,
not a problem, Rich. Who would you give as your man of the match very quickly?
I would have given it to Nori if we hadn't given it last week. That's a really hard task. That is such a hard question. Semedo played well. It was one of those games where you could pick a few players and discount all of them. I would go with Semedo because he hasn't had it recently, and I thought he did really well. I thought he tried to attack, he tried to defend, he defended well. Semedo for me. Sorry guys.
Not a problem. Enjoy your food.
Thank you. Cheers.
Have a good evening.
Bye.
Cheers.
So,
Ah,
Ash,
yes.
your man of the match.
I think Nelson. I think Nelson Worthley. I think Nelson. Thanks to the way he was able to come forward, the battle between him and Robinson was quite good. I think Robinson is quite a decent player that Fulham have got on their books, actually. It was a very good duel between the two. I don't think Nelson did, again, too badly. Hello, Nathan, as he joins.
Hi, gents. How are you?
Hi, we've just had Richard come off and then you'll come on. So we're back to three very quickly, which is nice.
Great substitution there.
But I think Nelson would be that because of the numbers of space he's got into. Obviously, he got his good number of free kicks, and yeah, just the way I think he defended again fairly well. I think he's certainly has settled in, and many more. I think any haters of him have silenced themselves more recently, and that feels good knowing that he has quality and he is really showing it, and he again showed it tonight. I don't think Ruben Neves also was too bad neither in terms of again being able to dictate the midfield.
You can only have one. You can only have one.
I know. I'll go with Nelson, but honourable shout out for Ruben as well.
Fair enough. Nathan, we're just talking about our man of the matches. Give us your man of the match, and then you could have a good old rant about offsides, like we've just had.
Yeah.
Oh, see, right, okay. So, all right, let's go with man of the match. All right, I'm going with Semedo. I thought he was phenomenal tonight. I thought he was defensively. Look, this guy got so much stick for the first quarter of the season, and I felt like he was a bit of an easy target for fans after coming from Barcelona and all that sort of stuff, and the hype and everything else involved with that size of a transfer. But I thought for the majority of this season, after Neto, he has been right up there with the players that have come out with any credit. And tonight he was sensational. I thought he was brilliant defensively. His control of the ball. I just think he's a quality player. And when we evolve next season defensively, he's going to be one of the best. So he'd get my vote tonight. Bod, offside. Where does it go? I've seen the screenshots. I still don't think he's offside. I still think the defender's hand looks a good yard ahead of his. I said to a Brighton fan, a friend of mine at half time, like, it's got to be the first football kit ever to be caught offside, hasn't it? In terms of the sleeve. Well,
that's it. Apparently, it's measured by the sleeve now. I did not know that. So I apologise to
even though Rule 11 of the rule book still states that it can't be an arm or a hand. But who knows these days? Who knows?
Why they're going by the shirt because
is it because the arm is about 4 inches away from the end of the shirt? I wonder.
I don't know. I'm with you.
God knows.
I'm looking at the end of his shirt, and it is a good 5 yards onside in comparison to the defender's arm. Like, he just isn't offside. He just even now I can't see it. And even you're talking millimeters if he is. He's just not in the. I think Nuno said, a friend of mine said, Nuno said it was in the spirit of the game, and he's absolutely right. Like, where does this nonsense end? If we'd have got beat tonight, dear me.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, what we said just before you came on was basically, but on top of that, the technology itself isn't actually. It wasn't a clear frame. It was in between frames because you can see with the ghosting. So, and then there's the ball leaving the foot of the player. You can't see that because the technology, the frame rate of the thing is not quick enough to capture this. So, as Rich was saying before, the lines that they draw are fairly irrelevant, really, because if you can't, the line is going to always be right because it's, like you said, basic maths. But all the rest of it is having to be subjective because the technology isn't running at the frame rate is running at a speed to be able to accurately show. So basically, it's flawed. It's flawed on that level. And then the worst and the most annoying thing is when they keep trotting out this bloody line. Oh, it has to be clear and obvious. Well, that wasn't clear or obvious. Well, it was clear and obvious. He was onside. But if you're gonna go with them, okay, that was not clear and obvious. It really was not. And Apparently, who was the guy doing the VR? David Coots.
David Coates, who's had form reverse.
Interesting.
He's
Coots loves
not.
Wolves, doesn't he? Interesting.
Yeah.
Every bad decision we seem to get seems to land at Coots, though. I'm just wondering how Willie and Jose feels tonight.
Oh, gutted. That was a lovely header. It was a lovely. I'll be honest, it was a beautiful cross, just dinked perfectly, and he came in, took it brilliantly. I mean, there was nothing wrong with that goal. It was just a well executed goal from start to finish. But
it was.
We'll strike that. That Sace scoring an absolute blinder a couple of months ago. Mind you, that was a bit more obvious, but even so, it's just you're just losing good bits of football to badly thought out practices. Anyway, I'm taking over your rant here. You carry on.
No, you are. You sort of No, I just wonder. When fans get back, there are going to be no hiding places for referees, and if moments like that happen, and people are seeing them on their iPhone at half time, the referees are going to be in for a hiding in the second half. And moments like that, they really are. And I don't know. Do you remember when? Do you remember we played Bolton in the first season back in the Premier League? And I think it was Uriah Rennie was reffing that game. And there was three or four.
He hated us. He really did.
There was 3 or 4 decisions in that game. There was like 2 clear penalties where I think Kenny Miller got pulled back, and I think a fan went on the pitch, didn't he?
I can't remember. I something happened, but I wouldn't be surprised. But I see where you're going. I mean, I thought this with these VAR decisions.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are people who will take it too far, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. The referee get clocked on or lynched. Yeah. Not lynched, I've been a bit far, but you know what I mean. Someone's going. It's not a stretch to think that some people will get so wound up with it.
We joke about it. If some people have had 10 pints before a game, and I think the City game is a good example when Sterling, the two penalties in a row where Sterling missed one and then had it retaken, and
then someone launched something onto the pitch. I think if I remember
that something will happen one day that puts a referee in serious danger. And
I've mentioned this on these calls many times, but I wouldn't be surprised if it means a referee gets put in serious danger. Also, Stockley Park gets targeted, for goodness sake. Don't be surprised if Stockley Park, where the VAR is based, ends up in trouble. And no one should be surprised if it happens, quite frankly. It's sad to say, it's frightening to say, but no one should be surprised if it ends up on the front pages. Because of a gruesome act, partly down thanks to incompetence of officials.
Well, you can imagine that where it's going to happen, it's going to be in a highly charged game like a derby game, and some ridiculous decision like that happens. I mean, there's been games where we've seen it, where something's gone like in games that we've been in. I can't remember which one off the top of my head, but where we've had a dodgy decision. I think it was probably the Liverpool game. I think, and Neto scores. It gets disallowed.
Yeah.
Liverpool score, but they kind of conveniently forget to go back to Van Dijk handballing it and setting up the whole move. But that was too early in the play. Oh, well, actually, because we didn't actually review it with that bit because we didn't see it. It was a massive fuck up. And then the people are on. And the thing is, if people didn't have smartphones and stuff like that, they could probably get away with it. But people do have smartphones. And within 5 minutes, they'll have watched a replay of it. They'll see exactly what they're, and they'll get more incensed, and then something's going to happen. And I don't know. I don't know where it would go. But yes, there is that danger massively.
You can see it coming a mile off, Bob. You can see it coming a mile off, and we speak about it, and it will happen at some stage next year. There'll be a big moment in a game that means a lot, and someone's emotions will just take over. They'll run on the pitch and give the referee a slap. You can just see it coming a mile away, and unless they sort out these issues in the summer, and I just don't have the confidence that they're gonna sort them out. I just don't have it. Let's see.
No,
Let's see.
I don't know. I can't. I don't want to go on to that too much because they're just poor. They just won't accept that they might have got something wrong. Anyway, sorry. My man of the match also Semedo. I was tempted to give it Traore because I thought he played well and scored the goal, but throughout the entire game, Semedo.
Nelson, consistency.
Yeah, sorry, chaps. We'll also say I have slated Dendoncker this season, like badly. But I thought he bounced back really well tonight. And he did the basics really well.
I didn't. I
really?
Didn't. Yeah, I didn't.
Ooh, controversial, Bod.
Go on, Bod. Explain your thinking.
He still seems very. He was less bad, but he still seems to loses his concentration and just either lets someone run past him or half-heartedly goes for a ball or underhits a pass. I mean, maybe I'm being harsh, but he does. To be fair, he got a lot better in the second half. But then our whole team performance for me in the second half was garbage. I thought so.
It was crap. I'm on bottle 6 of Peroni, so I may have misread it, but I thought he was.
No, it could be. I'm just being harsh. I'm not. I wouldn't say my judgment is necessarily.
In all fairness, as well, these reactions often look better after a result, don't they? If we're talking after 0-0, we're probably going. A 5 suddenly turns into a 7, doesn't it?
Well, I thought. I mean, the thing that was annoying me was that the tempo of the game was really slow, and like we alluded to it earlier, like Richard was saying, maybe it probably is just confidence. They're afraid to lose. I thought I was really disappointed in some of the way they came out because it was for some reason. And as I was saying just now, I thought the West Ham performance, apart from the 3 errors, was better.
Yeah,
was a much better performance because there was tempo to the play. There was crisp passing, being knocked around, bar the mistakes. But in this, I didn't think there was. I thought there was underhit passes. It looked like as I said, I don't like saying they weren't thinking they weren't trying because I don't think they're not trying because that's not true. They're professional footballers. They are going to try. But I do think it felt to me again like it was being approached like a practice game. And there just didn't seem to be. There was a lot of misplaced stuff, and there was a lot and slow to pick stuff up. There's a few occasions where players were leaving it for each other, and they got away with it in this game because Fulham aren't as good, or not quite as on the ball as the West Ham players were, and that still bothers me. And it bothers me in a way that that same team, after the slating they got against the West Ham game, that they've been picked again, and they've got an opportunity then to them really sort of make amends for it, especially in the first half. I'd expect to see them wanting to do something, really wanting it and put a performance, but that just doesn't seem to happen. It's just not there. Now, if we hadn't got a bit of individual brilliance from the Dharma at the end, we'd have had a draw there because we'd have been taking the goal, obviously the other goal away, which, to be honest, was the only actual goal attempt we had. Now, fair enough. Yes, that's good. We scored a goal off the goal attempt, but we're playing a team in the bottom 3 who aren't great. They just aren't great. They're all right. Don't get me wrong. There's no pushover team in this division, but we should really be doing better, and we should at the very least be making more of the game. Getting a few more chances. Creating something, because realistically, did we create much in that game? Not really, and that's what's disappointing to me. I mean, I know you don't want to lose, and you're not going to go. Okay, never going to go gung ho. I love gung ho attacking football, but I'm not going to get that. I accept that, but I do expect us to want to go out and score more, maybe more than one goal, and maybe create a few more chances. Because if you don't create chances, you're just narrowing the chances of you actually scoring that one goal, because you don't score off every chance. So expecting Neto or Traore to suddenly do what we did, it doesn't bode well for the future in my mind. Now, okay, we might change the things in the future, but if we're only ever going to create the odd chance each half, we're making it difficult for ourselves. Why make yourself difficult? I mean, the best way to defend is surely have it in the other half. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm going off on a big rant again.
No, also tonight as well, just to say that as Fabio, him coming in there, he came on and everyone was like, why is he left on the bench? He scores on Monday, assists on Friday, so absolutely finding his feet. And it was just very nice ball that he was able to put through. So good on the young man.
Nice touch from Gibbs White as well, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, Morgan. I think came on and actually, and as we mentioned before you came in, I think Morgan's little cameo was decent towards the end.
Not for me.
Yeah, I think.
I'm sorry,
I
can't warm to him. His touch was nice, but there was a lot of him running around, getting to the player when they're closing down, and then kind of going.
Maybe still a lack of confidence or whatever. Who knows?
I call it the Dendonka, where they get within 5 yards of an opposition player and just stop. Like, it's the professional shadow chasing team. We are, I tend to agree with you, but I think it'd be great to see more of a team with attacking intent. But
yeah, exactly.
The moment we open up, we're in a world of trouble. We've got no pace at the back. We've got no pace in the middle.
Maybe again bring back Rafa Mir, who again scored tonight. Rafa Mir, I know, got on the score sheet again. He's on fire at the minute.
Not convinced, Cash. Not convinced.
Fair enough.
To be fair, I don't think he wants to come back though. I mean, if he found it difficult here, he didn't want to settle. That's fine. I've got no issue with that.
He scored twice actually.
If he's happy
in a 3-1
win.
He
is.
I think the 10, 15
and he's taken,
more valuable.
And the team he's with though, Huesca, they'll probably want to buy him because they've gone from basically rock bottom to being now out of the bottom 3 in La Liga with 8 games to go. So that is pretty impressive. Maybe that could be the place where he thinks he belongs. Which if that's the case, fair enough. But
maybe Fulham should have had a pup.
Perhaps it might have helped Fulham there, and obviously it was their lack of quality, which is obviously also a saving grace for us tonight. It obviously meant Rui was a bit busy in the second half, but Rui covered everything with no problems. So
and it also meant Mitrovic didn't score up against Cody, which has got to be a bit of a collector's item, hasn't it?
Indeed.
Well, actually, I did. That's a fair point. I think to concede here is that I thought Cody actually played him very well, and in certain cases, and one particular moment, especially, everyone goes on about Mitrovic bullies Cody out the game, but Cody just basically
did his job.
He just muscled him out of the way and stopped doing it all. So I was relatively pleased with that. I'll be honest, as I said, the individual defenders and the last ditch type defending was good, but we shouldn't have been last ditch defending. That was the bit that was bothering me, and we were inviting them on and on, and it just felt like they're going to get a goal in a minute. I think if we hadn't have scored and that game had gone on for 10 minutes more, I know that's ridiculous here today, but they'd have scored because we just kept letting them have a chance and get a bit closer, and then have another chance and get a bit closer and have another chance, give away a free kick, give away a corner, and this is what we do. You sit deeper and deeper and deeper, give them more confidence. They get more touches on the ball, they gain confidence. We're playing again every time. Every time we play a team who's been on a bad run, everyone knows this is where the run ends because we sit and let them gain the confidence, and we can't do that.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. I'm not. This is what I was saying before. And like you're saying, then when we open up too much, it all goes apart. But there's got to be a balance. It's not. We don't have to go ridiculous, and we don't have to go ridiculous this end. Just a nice bit in the middle. Keep the ball in the other's half. That would do me. But knocking it around the back until we lose it is not really necessarily a good thing for me. Not that we did it that much, but I just look like you want to create something. Look like you want to win the game. That's all. It doesn't have to be ridiculous. Just create stuff.
as we did with the disallowed goal and obviously the winner.
Yeah,
as we did, which were two very, 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 very neat passages.
That's what pisses me off so much. It's because
We need to do more of it.
You'll see one piece of play like that and then go, well, why don't you try that again?
Yeah. We need to do more, as we did in the first season, and obviously as we did in the last season as well. Yeah, we need to get back to that mentality of going for it.
As we did in the last game. I don't think, apart from really poor individual mistakes in the last game, we actually played pretty well and created good chances that we didn't finish. It was individual errors. Take those individual errors away, and we were actually quite, threatening, really.
Indeed.
Anyway,
a couple of other supposed bits as I like to bring in. First of all, good luck to Wolves women on Sunday in the third round of the FA Cup. They have Watford. So as I think as mentioned on Monday, so fingers crossed they can get into the fourth round, which would be lovely. Also a note as well, looking forward to getting my samosa delivery tomorrow from one of Manny Singh Kang's team, of which £5,000 plus raised for samosa Saturday 10, all going to the one pack appeal, which is fantastic. And it's a very nice thing to have. 20 quid though, ultimately, pay what I donated, what was donated, helps to a food parcel, I think, for a week for a family. So, it is crucial for folks across the city. The fact that, 145 batches of samosas has raised £5,000 is a real testament of the times. That means 145 samosas, the batches of samosas ordered, and then a load of people still donating on the Just Giving page. So you can still do that as well, I believe. A link is somewhere on the forum. And then, of course, I will obviously have to say,
bounce that back to the top of the forum, because to be honest, I haven't seen that.
I think I'll dig it out. I'll see if I can dig it out. I stuck it up yesterday. Obviously, got surrounded by all the stuff in terms of editing today's game, and then obviously also I think a moment to just take just a moment of reflection on today's news, and particularly knowing that His Royal Highness
died. Yes, I know. It's,
His Royal Highness actually came to the city a fair bit. Actually, his last visit was helping to open JLR's engine factory. 2014, of which I was ironically in London. In fact, I think on the day I was actually at number 10. He loved the city, came a lot, and obviously his rapport with the people will never be forgotten. Cheers to 99 years, Philip.
Fair play. I think my bad joke went over your head.
I know, but it is one of those things, a big moment in our history of case of where were you when the news came through and whatever, which in my case was sitting on my bed and then a news notification came and then I immediately ran downstairs to mum and thought, oh my God.
We're talking about Traore scoring a goal, right?
If only I should have done that. It would have been nice. I should have done. I screamed a bit, obviously, as I like to, and then my younger brother was like, "Cash, keep it down," because the dogs had gone to bed around an hour before. So, what can you do at 10 to 10 in the evening? I don't think I would have gone down too well with other people in the street if I'd ran downstairs screaming. If it was at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, then fair enough. But actually, quite a nice segue, actually, because our next game against Sheffield United is a 3 p.m. kickoff on a Saturday.
What?
Exactly. Hallelujah to rarity. We're up against the Blades. As it's in Sheffield. Trying to do a rubbish South Yorkshire accent there, but 3 p.m. kickoff on a Saturday. Oh, hell!
I think that's one probably best left.
Indeed. I studied in Sheffield. My South Yorkshire can sometimes come from. Hopefully, though, as they say it there, it'll be right. That means in terms of performance and what. But
should have taken Bob's advice, Cash.
Yes, indeed. I think I'll shut up. But anyway, Sheffield United next Saturday afternoon, of which I'll have a haircut as well by the time we come back, or by the time that's happened. As I have that haircut locked in on the Sunday morning, which is nice, on the Saturday morning, which is nice. But Blades are bottom. They know they're gone. I think everyone knows they're gone. I think we'll be down in the next couple of games, actually, depending on how things go. Well, if Newcastle win, then it means Blades are basically they're mathematically it's almost over. So they need a miracle. They'll be playing for pride. We'll be I think playing for finishing as high as we can, because we're only 4 points behind Arsenal now, who are in like 9th or 10th. So that top 10 is now to reach. And
or
yeah,
do we play an experimental team
mm.
and start planning for next season?
I think it's massive. I think these next few games are massive for certain players in the squad. I think it's
imperative they perform. Yeah, absolutely.
Cody, Saiz, Dendonka. How far do you go? Matinho. Like, these players are almost fighting for a spot next season now, and I don't think. I don't think Nuno will mess around. I think he'll go with his favoured formation for next season, the 4-2-3-1, and hopefully he weaves in Vitinha and gives him a bit more game time. But I think for some of the players, they've really got to step up now. It's a big end to the season for them.
Indeed, particularly obviously those in defence.
Yeah. I'd like to see 2 or 3 of the other players in. I'd like to see Vitinha play 2 or 3 games from the bench, not from the bench, from start, and then maybe 60 minutes.
Yeah, Vitinha, Otazawi. We need Vitinha. We need Otazawi. Obviously, I think Fabio starting as well would be very useful, because as all 3 of them are shown, and obviously as Fabio again shown tonight, an assist, a goal and an assist this week in 4 days. Very decent job from the young man. That he can do the job. And obviously, all of our youngsters can do it. And Vitinha has the quality. Otazawi, as he showed within his little spell, also has quality. And obviously, I think we'll put no doubt some of the experienced folks under pressure. I hope Max Kilman also gets an on the act. Known it's been a bit of time as well since Max played obviously that time in the starting 11. And surely Leander, Remain, even Connor, I would go as far as saying, I'm probably thinking we're fighting for our lives here, in a sense, for trying to stay at, maybe not just staying on, wanting to be, say, in part of the team, but staying at the club. Because if no doubt over the summer, if they see, I'm sure we'll absolutely have the money contrary to the media speculation this week that we're going to be very tight in purse strings and we're going to sell this person for this much, sell this person for that much. I don't see that happening. But if we got a chance to upgrade, absolutely, I think we will.
Well, the next game, if we're playing Sheffield United, who pretty much know they're down. And surely, looking at today's bench, which I was just looking at, swap the ones on the bench out for some of the people who were on the pitch and started, and start with that team, and just to see how they fare. I know you can get in trouble for that, but
it freshens things up a bit as well. No, and again, it was unchanged.
If they're picked for the bench, they've got to be deemed good enough to be able to play.
Yeah. Bang on.
I know.
But
yes,
I guess it's whether.
But
I guess it's whether prize money plays a part as well. I guess, I think you get £500,000 or £1 million for every place you finish higher, and so I think you will experiment. I think you'll weave in a couple of youngsters, but I also think some of the, I don't know. I think the writing's already on the wall. I know it's hard to say because these guys have been here for such an incredible journey over the last few years, but I think Cody's done in a Wolves shirt next season in terms of a back 4. I think he'll stick around and be part of the squad, and I think we'll transition between a back 3 and a back 2 at times.
Back 2?
Back 5 and a back 4.
No, that would be experimental.
2 centre halves and a 3 centre halves. But I think in terms of 2 centre halves, he's done, isn't he? I just can't see it. And I think if he did start, I'd be very shocked next season if he started in that 2 centre back role. I just can't see it.
I don't know if he's done as such, for the simple reason I think it depends who would be next to him. So I did notice someone mentioned earlier on the forum about this, and it got me thinking. I was like, I can see the point there. If you've got him again next to a quick centre half, would he look as bad? I say bad, it's not like he's bad, but would would it make his performances look better when in a 4? I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
It's a £64,000 question, yeah.
He's played in the 4 for England, doesn't he?
Yeah, and obviously also he's fighting for an England spot. He's fighting for a Euro spot, obviously, here as well, which is probably no doubt in Nuno's mind.
Well, yeah, but and granted, when he has played in the 4 for England, it wasn't always against the strongest team. I appreciate that as well. But
I'd have him in the squad.
Yes. Yeah, it'd be interesting
because it strengthens the bench. It strengthens the bench at least.
We need. I think we need 2 centre halves. 2, not 1. Just actually 2, not up and coming. 2 ready to play centre halves who are better than the ones we've got.
Who may cost a bit, but who can basically do a job and make that and enable us to take that next step. Would you have every capability with the quality we've got?
They come in and they become the first pick. But if they're not performing, and it's up to the others, then it's competition for places. Then they've got to consistently perform at a high level to displace them, and that's surely that's how you improve a team. You bring somebody in who's better than the one you've got. That person drops down, and then either drops down and competes with them, or drops down and accepts it and just comes in and plays a bit part. And the 2 centre halves and maybe midfielder. I don't think you need more than 1, personally. And I think we're all right. I think we're all right with the front 4 or 5 players. Silva is only going to get better, hopefully, unless Jimenez comes back and for whatever reason can't play. I don't know why. I don't know what that would be. I think he'd probably be fine, but you don't know. It's an absolute mystery, that is.
And I don't think it makes sense in that case as well that he's probably going to not have any time this season, which I suppose is disappointing. But from a medical perspective, it makes entire sense.
Well, you just do what the doctors tell you. That's as simple as that.
You're going to trust the doctor and the high level of professionals in sports science and whatever else. So that's absolutely fine on that one. In terms of next Saturday, I think it could be an odd one because I think we know we're almost home and dry. Blades are obviously gone. They could be gone depending on the maths. I'm not sure. By the time we kick off, we should do the business as we did on the opening day. Of course, we blitzed. Ironically, we struggled to score the first goal, but then we blitzed them I think twice in the opening 6 minutes. On the opening day of the season, on our opening game of the season away at Bramwell Lane, of which it was Jimenez and Seiss with the headers, if I remember correctly. I'll go 2-0 again. Comfortable win. No idea who'll score. Maybe Jose will finally officially break his duck, even though obviously he technically did tonight. We'll I think we'll hopefully carry on. We'll hopefully carry on and have a strong run in at the end of the season, even though there's nothing we're playing for. Just do as well as we can, and obviously give Nuno something to be happy about. Obviously, all those who are fighting for their lives at the club. I mean, we should win. No inequality.
Okay, Nathan, what do you think?
8-0.
Oh, you've stole my thunder.
No,
8-0.
Not 9-0 or 10-0. Beat Southampton's capitulations.
I think that look, the sense after tonight is overwhelming relief that we've managed to get probably enough points to stay in the league and just put this nightmare of a season behind us, because it's been, when you look at the injuries to the key players, it's been an absolute disaster. So I think we'll beat Sheffield 2-0. I agree with Cash. My only piece of unfinished business this season lies after the Sheffield United game and going to the Hawthorns and sticking one on them. And I hope we severely batter the Albion in a few weeks, because they deserve one from us. So, I think we'll beat Sheffield, but I think it'll end in a crescendo.
And we got Burnley, of course. We got Burnley between that, I think, as well. Yeah, we got Burnley between that on the BBC the week before. So it's a free decent
Burnley
games
again on the BBC. The last time we played Burnley on the BBC was a total bloody disaster.
As we discovered, because we were 1 point away from the Champions League until the handball. or the foul, or
Yeah.
whatever it was that gave the penalty away. But hey, what can we do?
Yeah.
How time goes, how time flies.
What are you going for, Bart?
Well, I'm going for 8-0.
Realistic, please.
No, realistic. I actually think that I'm going to go with my theory. There's going to be an experimental squad, and it's going to be an absolute ridiculous game, and it'll be 6-5 to us.
Rotherham-esque.
Oh yeah, it'll just be end-to-end ridiculousness. Lots of interesting football going on. Calamitous defending, fantastic attacking. It'll be a joy to watch, and everyone will talk about it in bated breath for the ages. No,
An 11-goal thriller would be cool. Yes.
So,
Although
but I wouldn't. I'll be honest. I would not be surprised if it doesn't turn out to be a high-scoring game with 1 goal separating it, but it's like a 6-5 or a 4-3 or something like that. That wouldn't surprise me, because like you say, Sheffield United, they pretty much know they're down. They'll play. So they really, if they've accepted the down, they'll have less pressure on them. If they haven't accepted the down, they have to score. So they will. If anything like last season, they will go for it. So, and then we might probably go for it as well, because the pressure's off us now, and so I think we could end up
basically like Swansea away in 2012, which was a game after we got relegated against Man City. Obviously, we lose 2-0 to City and then come back from 4-1 down away at Swansea.
But like you say, the Rotherham game of a few seasons ago when we went up, that's probably a good parallel. South Yorkshire again playing against us. So there you go. So there's a lot of parallels there. So yeah, I'm going to go with that. I'll go with something like 6-5, 4-3, something like that.
Let's see. Well, look, chat. I've got to dive, but nice to.
Same. My bed is calling.
Well, I was going to say, I think with that we could end it there, and we will see you again on
Saturday the 17th of April.
Saturday.
And around 5 p.m. And if anyone does want to join us, then you certainly can.
Exactly what Cash said. Okay, then. I'll see you all later. Thank you all for coming on. And,
have a good night.
Goodbye.